Financial security. We all want it, for us and our family. Changes to the military's retirement system could have a big impact on the way you invest in your future.
Service members that have less than 12 years of service as of the 31st of December of 2017 will have an option to either opt in to the new blended retirement system, or they can continue under their current system that they have. For those that are in prior to that 12 years and have been serving for several years, like myself for 29 years, I stay under the current system. Those service members that enter the service after January 1st of 2018 will all be under the new blended retirement system.
The big difference is that you'll now have an automatic Department of Defense contribution to your thrift savings plan of 1%.
So that's a change compared to the TSP program and under this new retirement system. The other great thing about that is which we've never had, is matching funds for our service members. So a service member can put in 5% and the government will match, or the Department of Defense will match up to 4% for that service member. So this is a huge change for us. Right now, currently, 81% we estimate of service members that join, if they don't serve their full 20 years, walk away with nothing.
Under blended retirement, that same service member can walk away with a retirement benefit after just 2 years.
Those service members that serve to 20 years on active duty will collect their retirement at an annuity of 2% versus the current 2.5% after 20 years of credible service. And for our reserve component service members, the same rules will apply that currently exist today. After 20 years of credible service and at age 60, they'll collect their annuity or retirement check at a 2.0% versus the current 2.5%. We're keeping up with looking at what the force of the future will look like for the Department of Defense. And part of that is we need to keep up with our civilian counterparts out there, be Insura's leadership. We answer every question for them. We educate them on the choices. But there again, we're there to support them and their family members, and we try to guide them in the best direction. But again, at the end of the day, it's going to be their personal decision to make.
The 2018 Blended Retirement System. Financial security for you and your family.
Hello. I'm Command Sergeant Major Troxel, Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The United States Congress enacted a new military retirement system, referred to as the Blended Retirement System, as part of the fiscal year 2016 National Defense Authorization Act. It's one of the most far-reaching and significant changes to military pay and benefits of the last 50 years. Since the advent of the all-volunteer force in 1973, only 19% of our members have served long enough, 20 or more years, to earn monthly retired pay. The fact that over 80% of our volunteers leave the service without any military retirement was one of the driving factors Congress considered in designing a modernized retirement system. The blended retirement system will allow members who serve at least 2 years to leave the service with portable retirement savings. The blended retirement system will be implemented on January 1st, 2018. All members who are currently serving are grandfathered under the current system, commonly referred to as the High 3. If you are active duty and have less than 12 years of service, or in the Guard or Reserves with less than 4,320 retirement points as of December 31st, 2017, you will have the opportunity to opt in to the blended retirement system. This course has been developed to provide those of you who will be informing and counseling our service members with the information you need to ensure all members of the uniformed services can make informed, individual decisions about their retirement options. In your role, you must always be aware that you are a provider of information. Financial and retirement counselors should not advise service members about which retirement option they should choose. It is critical those personal and specific decisions remain the responsibility of the individual service member. We must also emphasize that our service members have always had and will continue to have the option to provide for their retirement by investing their own money outside of government programs. And finally, we must encourage service members to make well-informed financial decisions for themselves and their families for their financial readiness. Our mission is to ensure our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, as well as the other uniformed services, receive the information and tools they need to decide if the blended retirement system is the right choice for them and for their families' needs. This course is an important step in carrying out that mission. The next step lies with you as you put your time and attention into expanding your knowledge of the blended retirement system.
So what did we learn here? To summarize, before you make a decision on your retirement system, you should schedule a visit with a personal financial manager, command financial specialist, or other financial advisor to review and discuss your options. If you want to do some research on your own, there are several websites available, including Military OneSource, Military Pay, and the Thrift Savings Plan. And you will be able to use the BRS online calculator in your planning to compare your options and potential retirement benefits. I'll be back in just a moment with a final word. Congratulations! You are part of a select group of service members who get to choose your retirement benefit system. Currently, you are part of the Legacy High 3 retirement system, which provides a pension benefit of monthly retired pay if you complete 20 years or more of service. As a government employee, you also have access to a portable retirement system component known as the Thrift Savings Plan, or TSP, where you may already be contributing. You may choose to remain in the High 3 retirement system or elect to participate in the modernized blended retirement system, or BRS, one of the most significant and wide-reaching changes to the service's pay and benefits of the last 70 years. The BRS combines a reduced rate pension benefit plus a TSP account, where the government will automatically contribute an amount equal to 1% of your basic pay and match your contributions up to an additional 4%, for a total contribution of up to 5%. As a result, even if you do not complete a full 20-year career, the majority of individuals who opt into the BRS will receive some portable retirement benefit when they separate from the service. I'm Pat Dreyfus, and today we've invited a panel of financial planners, policy experts, and service members just like you to discuss your retirement options. Our goal is to inform, educate, and empower you to make the best decision for the future you are planning. You have an important decision to make during calendar year 2018, and once you have made that decision, it will be final. So it is vital that you take full advantage of the financial education and other resources available to you, and that you make an informed decision that's right for you and your family. Well, that's it for today. I hope we've answered some of your questions, but I'm sure we've also left you with a lot to think about. Remember, your service is providing you with opportunities for financial literacy training and education, and you should take full advantage of those. After all, it's your future and your money. Best of luck, and thank you for your service to our country. We'll begin by going over a few of the basics. The eligibility requirements for opting into the blended retirement system, or BRS. The period of time you will have in which to make the opt-in decision. And we'll introduce you to some of the main similarities and differences between the Legacy High 3 retirement system and the BRS. Welcome back. Let's start this off by discussing some basics about the blended retirement system and the options you have. We brought in some experts as well as a couple of service members who are currently considering their retirement planning options and the decisions they'll make, and we're hoping to have an informative discussion. First, we have Mr. Andrew Corso. Mr. Corso is the Assistant Director for Military Compensation for the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Personnel and Readiness and the DoD Project Lead for the implementation of the blended retirement system. Mr. Corso is providing his subject matter expertise to explain any detailed technical issues and answer questions about policy. Next is Beth Davis, a personal financial manager or PFM. Beth and her colleagues will be some of the main points of contact for service members for information and education about their retirement options. Nice to have you with us, Beth.
Absolutely, no problem.
And we have service members Jason Rice and Erica Harris. Welcome to both of you, and thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Pat. Glad to be here.
Jason, let's begin with you. As a starting point, what do you know about the BRS?
Not a whole lot, really. I know that they're switching me into it in 2018, but I haven't really looked into it yet.
Uh-oh. That's actually a pretty common misconception that's out there, but let me try to clear that up. January 1st, 2018 is when BRS takes effect, but if you're already serving prior to January 1st, you will not be automatically switched. You will remain grandfathered in your current retirement plan unless you choose to switch to the BRS. And only those who have served for fewer than 12 years will even have to make that choice.
So Jason has a choice because he's been in for fewer than 12 years. Andrew, why don't you go ahead and back up a bit and talk about how the eligibility works?
Sure, Pat. You can choose between the legacy High 3 military retirement system or the new blended retirement system if you are either an active component member who has served for fewer than 12 full years from your pay entry base date, or a reserve component member with fewer than 4,320 points. So this is a decision we all have to make. And really, this is why the services keep people like Beth around. We want to make sure service members like Jason find out about their options so they'll have the opportunities for financial education and financial counseling before they have to decide. We're really hoping in the months to come that everyone will take advantage of that.
So if I decide to sign up for the BRS, should I do it on January 1st when it starts, or should I wait, or when do I sign up?
Actually, Erica, if you decide to opt into BRS, you'll have the entire calendar year of 2018 to make that decision. And this is a big decision, so it's really good to have time to learn more about it and really think it over. It's about how you're going to fund your retirement, and you won't be able to change your mind later. So in the meantime, as Mr. Corso mentioned before, you'll need to complete the opt-in training and take advantage of the other financial education and information that's available to you. And remember, your installation has personal financial managers, just like me. And Military OneSource also has personal financial counselors always available to help. The best thing you can do is call to make an appointment. We can look over your details and really help you figure things out.
Thank you.
So Jason and Erica, you've really started us off with the basics about the BRS.
Well, you're welcome for that.
Yeah, thanks. So eligibility and timing details are important. So we've broken it down here for everyone. You will be able to make a decision on your retirement system beginning January 1st, 2018. You may choose to remain covered by your legacy retirement system, in which case nothing will change. Any eligible service member wishing to opt in must do so during calendar year 2018 after completing the required training. This decision is irrevocable and cannot be changed at a later date. Reentrants will have the remainder of 2018, or depending upon when they return to service, a limited period of time after 2018 to opt in if they desire. Stay alert for service-specific instructions for opt-in procedures. We know many service members will be choosing between the High 3 and the BRS retirement systems during the 2018 calendar year. We'll discuss the two retirement systems in more detail a little bit later. But for now, Beth, you often counsel service members in this area. Can you run down some of the basics of these two systems for us?
Sure. So for the High 3 military retirement system, Jason said I could pick on him a little. So Jason, how long have you been in the service?
I've been in for 7 years.
And are you planning on staying a total of 20?
Yes, ma'am, I do hope so.
Okay, good. Because in most circumstances, under the High 3 system, you receive the retired pay if you stay in for 20 years. And it's actually called the High 3 because your retired pay is based on the basic pay that you were making during the average of your highest paid 3 years. The retired service member like Jason will receive monthly retired pay based on years of service and percentage of his high 3 pay. How we arrive at that amount of money is represented by the formula that we're showing on the screen. His years of service, let's say exactly 20, are multiplied by 2.5% to determine a percentage. But again, he has to stay in for 20 years. Only 19% of service members today qualify for monthly retired pay under this system. So this means approximately 81% of today's service members will leave with no retirement benefit. The new blended retirement system combines the 20-year service member retirement system for retired pay with a defined contribution plan that incorporates the U.S. government's Thrift Savings Plan, or TSP as it's more commonly referred to. The defined contribution component includes an automatic government contribution of 1% of the service member's basic pay to their TSP account, and the service member may receive additional government matching contributions of up to 4% depending on how much they contribute. The new blended retirement system will ensure that 85% of uniformed service members leave the service with retirement benefits. The trade-off, as we incorporate matching TSP contributions, is that under the BRS, the retired pay multiplier is lowered. The formula for calculating retired pay will use a 2% multiplier for each year of service rather than the 2.5% under the legacy
Before
system.
we continue, let's run down the main points to take away from our discussion of the opt-in basics. You can choose between the legacy High 3 military retirement system or the new BRS if you are either an active component member who has served fewer than 12 full years from your pay entry base date, or a reserve component member with fewer than 4,320 points. You'll have the entire 2018 calendar year to sign up for the BRS if that's what you choose to do. In the meantime, you'll have opportunities to meet with financial counselors and educators to receive financial education and information as you prepare to make your decision. The High 3 retirement system provides a pension of monthly retired pay in return for 20 years of active duty service or the reserve component equivalent. And as a U.S. government employee, you have the option to participate in the Thrift Savings Plan by contributing a portion of your basic pay. The blended retirement system includes a reduced rate pension benefit for 20 years of service along with a TSP account. And this is where the BRS is quite different from the High 3. With the BRS, the government will automatically contribute 1% of your basic pay to your TSP account and up to an additional 4% of government matching contributions based on the contributions you make. When we return, we'll turn our discussion to why saving for your retirement is such a big deal. You're young, and retirement probably seems like it's too far in the future for you to think about right now. But the statistics show that many people who are just now reaching retirement age put off their planning for far too long, and as a result are not financially prepared to retire. In a moment, we'll discuss the costs and uncertainties that drive the need to plan for retirement and some simple steps you can take to begin to make your own retirement a little less uncertain. We're joined now by Dave Mason, who has 18 years of experience helping service members with financial information and education. Glad to have you with us, Dave.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
How about we spend a little time talking about why it's important to save for retirement? Dave, how about you taking us through this?
Sure. I think the facts speak for themselves on this subject. According to the General Accounting Office and Bureau of Labor Statistics, you should expect to live a long life after you retire. But many people approaching retirement age today have limited financial resources, and roughly half have no retirement savings at all. Those who have retirement savings probably don't have enough. The average savings for a household of between 55 and 64 years of age is about $104,000. The experts predict that you'll need about 80% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your standard of living and quality of life. Social Security may cover some of your expenses, but your retirement savings will play a critical role in guaranteeing you have income after you stop working. So, decisions you make now, while you are in your 20s and 30s, will go a long ways toward determining how you live once you've retired.
Pat, can I make a comment, please?
Sure, Erica.
So Dave makes a really good case about retirement planning, and that's all important, but life is pretty unpredictable, and I don't know what household income will be when I retire, or how long will I live after retirement. You know, those kind of things.
Right. This data is based on history. Retirement is based on the future. I mean, these are some of the uncertainties. Life expectancy will continue to go up as healthcare is improving, meaning you'll need more money to live on after you retire. You'll need to budget for living expenses, and unexpected healthcare costs can disrupt even the best plan. You have a standard of living to which you're accustomed. Is that what you intend for your retirement? Social Security was never intended to be your primary source of income during retirement, and investment returns may be unpredictable. So Jason, we agreed that no one can predict the future decades out, so it's hard to fine-tune a retirement plan.
Right. How can I plan for retirement unless I have a place to start? And are there sort of some basic things that I can assume I need to plan for?
Sure, Jason. The essentials. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says that the things that are essential to be paid for in retirement are: you need housing, and then you also need transportation, and food, and finally, health care.
Right. So you might just want to make a list. Start with those 4 essential needs, and then add the things you want, like travel, entertainment, current technology. And now you might want to make some notes about the expectations you might have for those things. For example, how big of a house do you need? How many cars do you want to have? How much do you want to travel, and where do you want to go? Those are the things that will start to define the standard of living that you'll want to maintain.
So once I figure out the standard of living that I want to have when I retire, how do I get to the amount of money that I need to have in order to pay for that?
Dave, can you help us out with the math?
Sure, I can. So it's all about income streams, and income streams are literally where the income comes from, so streams of income. So there are primarily 4 primary income streams for most people, and it's personal savings and investments, employer-provided pensions, Social Security retirement benefits, and earned income if you choose to keep working or you have to work. So we worked this out with Jason in advance. Jason, take it from there.
Sure. I'm planning on staying in for a full career, which in my case is 26 years of service. I think that about $70,000 a year will be good when I retire for good at age 65. I'm going to plan on covering 25 years, so until I'm about age 90.
Well, you're certainly in great shape, and you don't eat a lot of double cheeseburgers, right?
Well, not too many. So my income streams are going to be $33,000 from my military pension plan and $21,000 in Social Security retirement benefits. That's going to leave me about $16,000 each year that I need to cover, and that's either going to have to come from personal savings and investments, or I'm going to have to keep working in order to make up that gap.
Now, Jason's next step is to figure out how much he needs to save each year to fill that gap, and what types of savings and investment vehicles he might use. And if he doesn't save enough, how long will he have to continue working to earn the income to live on?
Well, after all this, I think it's safe to say that I'm going to be motivated to save enough.
In a moment, we'll move on to some of the important terms and concepts you need to understand in order to be an active participant in your retirement planning. But first, let's take a moment to review what we've learned about the importance of lifelong financial security. Many people who are at or near retirement age today have not saved enough money to maintain their standard of living, and Social Security retirement benefits alone will not be enough. Experts say you'll need about 80% of your pre-retirement income to maintain your standard of living. You cannot accurately predict the future of things like life expectancy, Social Security benefits, or investment returns. But saving for retirement well in advance is the best insurance against those uncertainties. The essential retirement needs to plan for are housing, transportation, food, and health care. Those 4 essentials, along with travel, entertainment, and other nice-to-have items, will define the standard of living you want to maintain in your future retirement Before we years. discuss more of the details of the retirement plans from which you will be choosing, you'll need to understand some important financial concepts and terminology. We'll start that conversation in a moment, along with more on the advantages of investing in the Thrift Savings Plan, or TSP, the U.S. government's version of the 401k investment plan. Let's shift gears here for a minute and go over some basic financial planning concepts and important terms service members need to understand in order to make informed decisions. So Andrew, what we've done here is we've gone out to various locations to see if service members have a handle on some of the essential concepts of financial planning. So we're going to roll a question, let a service member take a stab at it, and then you tell us how they did.
That sounds fun, Pat. Will I win anything?
Oh, wow, about a hearty handshake and a pat on the back and the warm thrill of victory.
Well, I guess that's something.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes.
Great. Before we continue, let's review the main points we've just covered. The Uniformed Services pension plans are based on creditable years of service, usually 20 years. Upon qualifying for retirement, you know you are guaranteed to receive a monthly retirement paycheck for the rest of your life. Vesting is the right an employee has to keep the money and interest earned on that money their employer contributed to their retirement account. Usually, vesting is based on the length of time you work for that employer or participate in the retirement system. Once vested, the amount of money in your retirement account is yours to keep and the employer cannot take it back. Compound interest is interest added to the principal of a deposit or loan so that the added interest also earns interest from then on. Compound interest allows you to make money on the contributions you make to your retirement account from your basic pay, any government-provided contributions you receive, and from the money earned by those contributions. As a member of the Uniformed Services, you have the opportunity to participate in the Thrift Savings Plan, a retirement savings plan similar to 401k retirement plans offered to private sector employees. The purpose of the TSP is to give you the ability to participate in a long-term retirement savings and investment plan. In a moment, we'll get into more of the details of the legacy High 3 retirement system and the new blended retirement system, or BRS.
The pension is the funds I receive from my retirement pay monthly after my 20 years of service.
That's actually a good answer. In common terms, a pension is a promise from your employer to provide you monthly retired pay for the remainder of your life after you've finished your employment. For the Uniformed Services, the pension is the retired monthly pay you earn, normally after serving at least 20 years in the military.
So a defined contribution plan is the amount that both you and your employer put into a fund on a regular basis.
He's on the right track with that answer. A defined contribution plan is a retirement account in which both you and your employer can contribute on a regular, periodic basis into your retirement investment accounts, such as the Thrift Savings Plan. Under the blended retirement system, service members will contribute to their own TSP accounts, and the government will match a certain percentage of their investments in their own TSP accounts. And then, upon reaching retirement, they can begin drawing from both what they originally contributed as well as the earnings on those investments.
Government matching is where the government will match up to a certain percentage the amount I put into my TSP.
That's a really good answer. Government matching is an additional money that you'll receive if you contribute to your own thrift savings plan up to a certain percentage. But the thing to remember is you have to contribute to your own account. And if you do, the government will match up to a certain percentage.
I think portability is when you leave the service, you can take your money and either put it into an IRA account or into your employer's retirement funding.
Well, that's actually a really good answer, and I'm not sure I can improve upon it myself, but when we talk about portability, we mean the right that a service member has to take with them the savings they have in their TSP account and any earnings on those savings when they're done serving. So what that means is, if you've contributed to your TSP account in your career and you've received the matching provided by the government, when you're done serving, those savings are portable and you'll take them with them. Now, there are some rules for vesting, which means when you're eligible to actually keep those government contributions, and members need to understand those vesting rules.
I think vesting is the amount of money that the government contributes towards your retirement that you get to keep after 2 years of service.
Vesting is a complicated term to understand. In technical terms, vesting is the point at which an employee has non-forfeitable rights over the money in their investment account. But in layman's terms, that means the point at which you get to keep the money in your account. Under blended retirement, the rules for vesting can be a little bit complicated, so we want to talk about those here. Any contribution an employee makes to their own TSP account is immediately vested, meaning they get to keep that. And any earnings they get on that investment are theirs to keep. Any government matching contribution is also immediately vested, meaning if they leave the service, they take that with them. The automatic contributions they'll receive from the government of 1% are not immediately vested. You have to serve 2 years in order to keep those. But once you've served that minimum of 2 years, that's your money to keep. So if you are vested, that means when you leave the service, you take everything in your TSP account with you.
I guess the best way to describe it would be if I had $100 and 15% interest, then I would end up having $115 towards that next cycle, and then the interest would be based off that, the 115.
That's exactly correct. Compound interest is the essence of why we invest. It's the earnings that you get on your initial investment that grow over time, and then those earnings grow and they continue to compound, which is what gives us the real value to our investments.
The TSP is the Thrift Savings Plan. It's the government's retirement program that benefits uniformed service members.
Well, it's quite loud on the flight line today, but I think I heard him correctly, and he's right. The Thrift Savings Plan is the government's retirement investment program, very similar to a 401k in the corporate or civilian world. The Thrift Savings Plan allows service members to contribute to their own retirement and receive government benefits.
Under the legacy High 3 retirement system, less than 20% of service members separate from the service with retirement benefits. With the BRS, approximately 85% of service members will be able to take some retirement savings with them when they leave the service. Next, we're going to drill down into the details of these two retirement systems to explain the differences behind this paradigm shift in the uniformed services now, retirement.
For
a new perspective, we've brought in Samantha Baker. Samantha's been in the service for just a couple of years and is considering her retirement options. She's got several questions for us. Samantha, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity, sir.
Go ahead with your questions for Mr. Corso.
Well, the High 3 system seems pretty simple. As long as we serve 20 years, we get retired pay, correct?
Precisely, it is that simple. You serve 20 years, you receive retirement benefits for the rest of your life. We call it the High 3 system because it's based on the average of the highest 3 years of your pay. There's a formula under the High 3 system that's 2.5 times the number of years you've served times your High 3 average. So if you figure 20-year career times 2.5 is a 50% retirement, and that's how most people think of the High 3 system, as a 50% retirement. But it can continue to grow if you serve beyond 20 years.
But with High 3, we don't get the TSP account?
No, you don't. Service members can voluntarily contribute to the Thrift Savings Plan now, but it's not part of their retirement plan.
Okay, can you go back over the BRS again and point out the differences with the High 3?
Sure. The blended retirement system combines the legacy military retirement's defined benefit plan with a new defined contribution plan in the Thrift Savings Plan. The difference is that we're changing the multiplier from 2.5% to 2% under the blended retirement system. But BRS blends additional elements such as your contributions and any government contributions and earnings to your Thrift Savings
We're
Plan.
back. Samantha, just before the break, I think you had a question about the Thrift Savings Plan, which is also called the TSP.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Could we please go over the details of how the TSP works with the blended system?
Sure. When you enroll in the blended retirement system, you'll be able to elect a certain contribution from your pay into your Thrift Savings Plan. Additionally, the government will provide an automatic 1% contribution on the next pay period directly into your TSP account, whether you contribute to TSP or not. Also, if you do contribute to TSP, you can receive a matching government contribution up to an additional 4% for a total of 5% government contribution into your Thrift Savings Plan account each month. This is additional money that doesn't come out of your pay, but you get as an additional added incentive for participating in the Thrift Savings Plan.
I'm curious about this concept of continuation pay. How will that work?
That's a good question. Continuation pay is a bonus that participants in the blended retirement system will receive in the middle of their career for an agreement to continue serving for additional time. The amount of your bonus will vary and it'll be determined by your service. For our active duty members, it'll be a minimum of 2.5 months worth of pay, all the way up to 13 months of pay, and that'll be varied depending on the needs of your service and when you reach that that point in your career when you're eligible for the continuation pay bonus. For our reserve members, the range is anywhere from a half month's pay, as if that member was serving on active duty, all the way up to 6 months worth of pay.
So does the continuation pay come out all at once, or is it spread out? How would that work? Because I think it would have a pretty significant impact on my taxes if I took it out all at once.
You're absolutely right, and it's your choice. You can receive the continuation pay as a one-time payment, or you can spread that over 4 installments for varying reasons. You might be concerned with the tax implications, and that would be a good reason to talk to one of your PFMs or tax advisors.
So is that the same as the lump sum option?
No, those are two different things, so let me try to clarify. The lump sum option is a new option for service members under the blended retirement system, providing them choices at retirement. The lump sum option allows service members to choose to take a discounted value of 50% or 25% of their retired pay from when they retire until they reach full retirement age. At that point, their monthly retired pay reverts to its full amount as if they had not taken the lump sum. This is a fantastic opportunity for retiring service members, but you need to understand the trade-offs of taking a portion of your retired pay up front.
This was a great segment as we got into the nuts and bolts about the High 3 and BRS retirement systems. Samantha, thanks for bringing in your questions. I hope we've given you some things to think about.
Thank you, Pat, and thank you to everyone. This has been
Next
very
up,
valuable.
we'll be talking about some of the important personal and professional factors service members need to consider as they work through the process of deciding which retirement system they'll choose. But first, let's take another look at the important takeaways we just covered. The formula for retired pay under the High 3 system for active component or AC service members is 2.5% times years of service times high 36-month average basic pay, which results in a monthly retired pay benefit of 50% of the average of your highest 3 years of basic pay. For members of the reserve component, or RC, years of service is equal to the service member's accumulated retirement points divided by 360. Under the BRS, the new formula for retired pay is reduced to 2% times your years of service times the average of your highest 36 months of basic pay, which results in a monthly retired pay benefit of 40% of the average of your highest 3 years of basic pay based on 20 years of service. The qualifying service to receive the monthly retired pay in the BRS is still 20 years of service, the same as for the current system. A major difference between the High 3 retirement system and the new BRS is that the new blended system includes a TSP account for service members where the government will contribute to the account along with the member. This includes an automatic government contribution of 1% of the service member's basic pay and up to 4% government matching contributions based on the service member's own contributions. Service members who opt into the BRS will be eligible for continuation pay around 8 to 12 years of service in return for an additional 3-year commitment. And service members who opt into the BRS will be eligible to receive a portion of their retired pay as a lump sum upon retirement from the service. So far, we've covered the differences in the retirement systems you have to choose from, key financial terms and concepts you need to understand, and why it's important for you to save for retirement. But there are a host of other issues you may need to consider with your retirement planning, like your career goals, both while you are in the service and once you get out, and how your decision might impact your family. That's what we'll look at next. In this segment, we're going to discuss the important factors you'll want to consider when you're weighing your retirement plan options. We brought back Erica, who has kindly offered to be an example for us as we talk through the process. Thank you, Erica.
No problem, Pat. I mean, what do I have to lose?
Well, nothing to lose and maybe a lot to gain. What this is really about is critical thinking. Thinking through this decision carefully and completely and considering everything that you need to consider in order to plan thoroughly and make the most informed decision you can make. So we're going to make some notes as we go through the process. Let's start with your goals, Erica. How long do you plan to serve and what factors might influence that decision?
Well, currently I'm planning on finishing my 4 years of active duty. Then I plan to do 4 years of the reserves, or I could just do those last 4 of active duty. I'm just not 100% sure. It all depends on my personal life or how much I like my job.
So your goals are flexible. Okay, have you thought about how your service career goals might relate to any goals you have for working in the private sector later on?
Well, the whole point of me being here is, first of all, finishing my college education. And I think it also benefits me to have some leadership skills while I'm on the job.
So you've already been thinking through goals and planning for the future, which is great. What about your personal and family situation? You're currently single. Any wedding bells in the near future?
Well, I am on a steady relationship, but no plans on changing that for now.
Okay, so at the moment you don't have a spouse or children to consider, which means you don't currently have another person's income to factor in or a definite need to plan for a child's education or other expenses. If your personal or family situation changes, you'll want to take another look at your long-term financial and retirement plans at that time and involve your spouse or significant other in that planning process. So Erica, we've made notes for you as we were going along here, and these will come in handy when you go to talk to a PFM at your installation. Now, when you go to that meeting, you'll also want to bring a list of your monthly expenses and make some notes about where you may want to live when you leave the service, whether you want to buy a house or any other major expenses you might be planning. Your PFM can help you map out a budget for your expenses. That's your current and your planned expenses, and they'll show you how much you might be able to save toward your retirement now and in the next few years. Now, for those of you watching, we've put together several examples of service members with different plans, goals, and personal and family situations to help you identify the things you need to be thinking about during this process. See if you can identify 2 or 3 examples that are similar to your circumstances and learn from those. To summarize what we've just heard, you need to consider your goals when you're thinking about the uniformed services retirement system you plan to choose. How long do you plan to serve, and what factors may influence that decision? And how do your service career goals relate to any goals you might have for working in the private sector? What personal and family goals and obligations will affect how you plan and save for your retirement? And if you have a spouse or significant other, you may want to involve them in your planning process. It cannot be stressed enough that your retirement system decision is yours to make. No one else can make it for you, but you have an assortment of tools and resources available to help you with planning and decision making. And we're going to talk more about those next. As a service member, you have a variety of resources available to you to help you make an informed decision about your retirement system. Our PFM panelists, Beth and Dave, are 2 good examples, but there are more, and you should take full advantage of all of those tools and resources. You might want to take a few notes on this next discussion. As we've already explained, you are the only person who can make your decision on which retirement system is right for you. The Legacy High 3 retirement system or the blended retirement system. No one else can make that decision for you, but you don't have to make that decision today, and you don't have to make it in a vacuum. There are a wide variety of resources and tools at your disposal to help you make the most informed decision possible. Let's take a minute to run down just a few of those. Depending on your service, you have access to personal financial managers, command financial specialists, personal financial counselors, retirement services officers, and other professionals to provide you with financial information and education. And we strongly recommend you make an appointment to talk over your retirement options with one of these professionals soon. You'll have many opportunities to attend classes and seminars on financial and retirement planning both before and after you make your decision. And you'll be provided with financial literacy touch points throughout your career in the uniformed services. If you're the type who likes to do your own research too, the services have a number of websites available that provide easy-to-access information in modern formats like videos and multimedia presentations. The links to some of those websites are shown here. And in a moment, we'll be discussing the BRS Calculator, an online comparison calculator that will enable you to compare side by side your potential retirement benefits from both the Legacy High 3 retirement system and the BRS, based on your goals and expectations for your career in the uniformed services. When we come back, we'll introduce you to the BRS calculator. We're back, and we're joined by Lieutenant Derek Roberts for a discussion about the BRS calculator. The BRS calculator is an online comparison calculator that will enable you to enter information about your current and projected service status in order to estimate your potential retirement savings and income. For example, Lieutenant Roberts' current pay grade is 03, so that information is entered into the calculator. We've asked Beth Davis and Lieutenant Roberts to demonstrate this process for us so we can compare Lieutenant Roberts' options for retirement plans. Go ahead, Beth.
Okay, let's do this. So Lieutenant Roberts, you'll be able to access the online calculator whenever you want, but I highly recommend that you do it in a visit with your PFM so they can answer any specific questions you may have.
Can do.
You were active duty and you're now reserve, so we'll need to enter data for both. What's your current age?
Currently, I'm 31 years old.
And when did you first enter the service?
I first entered the service October 1st of 2006.
Your current pay grade is 03, correct?
That's correct.
Great. Do you currently have any savings in TSP?
I do. I currently work a civilian government job, and as of my last paycheck, I have $25,200 in the TSP savings account.
And do you know how many reserve points you've earned to date?
I do. Between active duty and reserve time, I have 3,110 points.
And so you achieve those points across your 10 years of service?
Yeah, that's right.
How many total years do you plan to serve?
I plan to retire from the reserves with 22 years of service time, and when I retire, I should have 1,260 additional points.
So Pat, we've already filled in some assumptions over here, and the career progression we anticipate for Lieutenant Roberts up to the time he separates from the reserves. Lieutenant Roberts, how much are you contributing to your TSP?
5%.
So what we're going to show you next are some outputs from the calculator. First, if Lieutenant Roberts stays in the High 3 system, and this is based on his plans that he'll meet the 20-year requirement to qualify for a pension. And next we can see the output if he opts into the new BRS. So now we have some estimates Lieutenant Roberts can use to help him make an informed decision for his new retirement plan. And we could also go back and play with a few of the numbers and make some other comparisons, such as if he decides to separate from the service before reaching 20 years, or if he increases or decreases his TSP contributions, or other similar adjustments.